What is going on, everybody, and on here? And today we are going to talk about Palworld. Now, there's a significant amount of people buying into a game that they don't understand. They don't understand the manufacturing Bushiroad, and they don't have any idea where this is going. So I'm going to fill in the blanks for you guys. Obviously, the game's going absolutely apeshit. But before I start, I just did a video. And I did one with Lord of the Rings set boxes as well. And I put a song in the background that was supposed to be muffled, hopefully. But the lyrics of the song are kind of like breadcrumbs as to what happens next. And 99% of the people that comment on the video are dumbasses that didn't actually take the time to watch the video or listen to the lyrics, because it's telling you exactly what happens and what is going to happen without coming right out and saying, hey, dumbass, Destined Rivals is going to be dead money for the next 8 months, because it is, because we're at the same place where we were with Surging Sparks when we started getting reprints. But anyway, it just goes to show you the level of intellectual laziness on the internet and specifically YouTube. So that brings us to the topic at hand, which is Palworld. So I ordered Palworld back in February, and I didn't order it because of the game, because of the IP. I simply ordered it because I assumed it was going to be controversial, because it is lovingly deemed Pokemon with guns. Now, there have been a multitude of lawsuits back and forth between the two companies, which I believe is recently tossed, and Pokemon lost, Palworld won. So that's interesting. There are certain distributors who did not carry Palworld. TCG Player did not carry Palworld, presumably. This is my opinion. They didn't want to piss off Pokemon, who is effectively the hand that feeds them, or one of the hands that feed them. Whether that was a critical mistake or a strategic omission, doesn't really matter. They made their decision at that point in time, and I'm not going to question the decision. It was clearly the right decision for them, because that's where they went. But now everything's kind of changed a little bit. So what I didn't appreciate, and I personally don't really follow the game. I may actually play it at some point because it looks like it's kind of fun. Their 1.0 update to the game came out about a month ago. And I don't know if it hit top or number 2 most downloaded game on Steam, went absolutely batshit crazy. I think it was at a high at that point in time, I haven't looked recently, of like 850,000 concurrent players. And the game, the IP, the hype was absolutely through the roof. So when you guys see Wind and Waves for Pokemon, the fact that they are trying to sync that up with the release of the video game, this is the intent in what they're trying to do. Whether it was intentional or it just happened to fit into place and it was coincidental, the way that Palworld executed the back-to-back hype was probably the best I've ever seen. Which leads me to believe it was probably dumb luck, even though it was planned to be near neighbor. But either way, we are where we are. So they made this announcement a couple weeks ago, and this quite honestly scared the living crap out of me. Over 3.5 million packs ordered worldwide, which if you do the math, are 12-pack boxes. It's like 292,000 booster boxes, which is a lot of friggin' booster boxes. I mean, that's more booster boxes that are printed for your standard one-piece set, for those of you who are interested. Certainly in English, maybe not. I don't know how much is printed in Japanese. I don't really care, because foreign language cards are quite honestly garbage if you're in the U.S. market, but that's a different conversation. So it scared the shit out of me, and I was curious to see what happened, because this could have gone one of two ways. It could go the way that it's gone, or it could just go the demand's kind of ho-hum, and then the market flushes. Now, it was interesting early on because Flipside, who quite honestly fucked this up really, really badly, they started selling the boxes at $45 to $47 on eBay, and they sold thousands of them, presumably coming from either Direct or PhD or GTS. I don't know which they're dealing with. I know one of their distros didn't carry the game, so it certainly didn't come from there. So they set the market really, really low. But Football Pete came to everybody's rescue and set the price at $65. So once Flipside blew out at almost $20 a box less. P Football Pete, who they are super intelligent. They know exactly what they're doing, and they are making the market on this stuff. And as the sales velocity started to increase, they started walking their price up, which is exactly what you want to see. And then as the hype grew, people wanted to rip the packs. They started seeing the quality of the chase cards. They started seeing the value of what people are paying, and then everything just went absolutely off the rails. Now, TCG Player decided they were not going to carry the game. They are still at least a month out, and that's if they start on Monday to carry the game and get the cards in. Quite honestly, I think they fucked up. This is a massive, massive fuck up. This is a massive, massive shortage of or shortfall of revenue that they're not capturing here. So I am virtually certain they're going to set this right. It will be really interesting if they double down and say they're not going to carry this, because somebody else is going to build a platform and they're going to carry it. So how much staying power this has, all bets are off. So boxes are selling as high as $200 plus right now. The cost of these from distribution was anywhere between $34 and $46, depending on where you bought them from. So it's an absolute grand slam home run for anybody who bought it. I sold boxes for $55 through Discord, and I'm absolutely thrilled. I made 60% on the boxes on a TCG new release that was reasonably risky. Everybody else took that $55, and they've tripled their money plus. So I am more than thrilled for everybody, because the best way to retain customers is to sell them product that has value for them. Something that a lot of stores in the TCG space don't quite understand. So that's where the market is today. Now, first of all, let me talk a little bit about Bushiroad. So Bushiroad is a Japanese company. They are publicly traded in Tokyo. I think it's Tokyo. They print their cards out of Malaysia. The cards are printed in Malaysia and distributed out of Singapore. For those of you who don't know, Singapore is probably the most American-friendly Asian country in existence. There is reasonably free trade between the U.S. and Singapore. Tariffs are pretty low. I think the tariffs do exist. I think it's still probably 10%, but with something like this, it's kind of irrelevant. But Bushi, I believe, owns their printers. They print their own cards. Bushiroad prints, I'm going to go through all the card games off the top of my head. Weiss Schwartz, they print. Card Fight Vanguard, they print. Hololive, they do not print. That's printed by somebody else. But these guys were printing the Godzilla card game. I'm sure there's a couple I'm missing. And now they are printing Palworld. So when you look at the number of packs printed for Palworld and the fact that Palworld is going nuts, this is very similar to what Riftbound did to UVS, where they are now in uncharted territory with the amount of demand of a card game, the amount of supply they have to push out, because this is something that has never happened in the history of their company. Last year, Nikki Volume 1, they did a large reprint of Nikki Volume 1 first edition, and then they did a reprint of the reprint edition. And I believe that was the largest print run they ever had. I guarantee you this is magnitudes greater than that, and it's only going to get larger. So what we know from Bushiroad is they are business intelligent, which means they're greedy. They are going to print or reprint the first set, and they're going to print it, and they're going to print it, and then they're going to print it. Now, how are they going to print it is a great question. Because they are now having capacity issues at their manufacturing facilities. And the reason I say that is some of their sets that are scheduled for the second half of the year are now pushing. So Godzilla, which I talk about reasonably often, announced a set 5, which should have been a September release. It was delayed to December because the second set of Palworld is coming out in October. There is a September release of Nikki Volume 2 that they will print on time, which is going to take a significant amount of print capacity. So that is a roundabout way of telling you they're going to print what they have printed for the second set. We'll talk about that in a second. And then they're going to have to find print space for the first set, which they are still trying to figure out. There is no word from Bushi to anybody in distribution as to when there is a reprint of the first set coming. Now, with set two is sold out. It is oversold by multiples of how much product is on the market. If you guys have traditional distribution, you probably got emails from everybody yesterday saying that place an order. We're going to go back to Bushi. We're going to try to get more product, which isn't going to happen. You have your distributors that are at a higher price are not buying direct from Bushi. They're buying from one of the distributors. The nice thing about Bushi in this situation is there are 2 or 3 distributors who buy directly from Bushi in the US that are not the names that you're used to hearing. They're not Southern, they're not PhD, GTS, Alliance/Universal, Magazine Exchange. They are not those guys. So if you have a history of buying, only Bushi is pretty much what they carry. A lot of Southeast Asian games, pretty much the only way that you can get Japanese print because you can't get them from the large American distributors. They are carrying the game as well. I will tell you that those folks are going to get their orders first. And then your traditional American distributors are probably going to get what's left. So they're probably going to get cut on the first wave of the second set. If you are buying print orders for the second set in October, chances are the company that you're buying pre-orders from is going to get 20 to 40% of what they ordered from distribution. I'm just telling you, it is going to be a bloodbath. The demand for this thing for the second set has gone through the roof. Everybody pulled their pre-orders early, and Bushi has confirmed as of probably Wednesday of this week, they are out. Everything that they had scheduled to print for the second set is sold, and it's accounted for. So they're now going back to the drawing board to see how much extra they can squeeze out of the print facility. And then they have to figure out how to print the first set. So we're going to have an artificial squeeze. This reminds me a lot of what happened with first chapter for Locana, where the first set came out and there was a ton of demand. The second set came out, there was more demand. And Asmodee was scrambling because they couldn't print the thing fast enough. So you have a significant imbalance between supply and demand across the first 2 sets. So, and what's interesting, since the cards are printed in Malaysia, I do not know if Bushi has access to print in China. There's obviously capacity there, but I'm not sure that they would want to do it because the Japanese and the Chinese don't always see eye to eye, if you know what I'm talking about. And then there's obviously different quality issues. The quality of Bushi cards is second to none. It just is. The quality of cards printed in China, it really depends. It depends where you get them printed. Haiyu cards are beautiful. Sorcery cards are okay. Some of the other cards printed in China are just straight dog shit. I'm not going to lie. They are. So we've talked about Bushi. Bushi will reprint this probably 2, 3, 4 times. They will reprint this till the box price is probably in the $40 to $50 range, unless they do something they haven't done before. They may get to the point where they've just given up on print capacity. They've maximized their efficiency on everything. And they say, you know what, we're going to move on to the next set. We're going to keep value there because we don't have a choice. So this is a potential scenario, potential scenario, unlike one that we've seen in the card world before, where the game producer and distributor is going to be beholden to its own constraints and may not have an opportunity to do what UVS is, which is printing everything to the absolute fucking ground. Speaking of UVS, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Freedom Ascension, the 5th Gundam set, is neck and neck with the number of boxes sold for Vendetta for the 4th Riftbound set. That's not a knock on Riftbound. That is me trying to open your eyes on how much sell-through and how much attention is going on the Gundam card game right now. So there's a little nugget there. So you're welcome. So back to this. We've talked about set 1. We've talked about set 2. We've talked about if they do a reprint, the reprint is going to go to the non-traditional, the non-major distributors first, and then they'll start to backfill the PhDs, the GTSs of the world with product. Do not hold your breath. It is going to be a while. So we have talked about the first set. We've talked about a reprint. A year from now, you're going to see almost certainly what you saw with first chapter in Lorcana, where things go straight up, then they go straight down, then they go up a little bit, then a second or a third reprint comes in, it goes down, or a third print, second reprint. But it's important to pay attention to, does the Bushi CEO say, hey, we need to move on, we don't have enough print capacity, we'll start to make it up on future sets. If that's the case, and this thing has staying power, the first set could be something return-wise that we haven't seen before. It's completely unprecedented given the demand and the constraints on supply. It will get reprinted at least one time, and it will be large. So you will have an opportunity to buy it cheaper. That's all I'm saying on that one. Set 2 we've talked about. They're trying to print more. They're trying to figure out their print capacity. I will probably keep the folks in Discord updated on what I hear directly to Bushi. But for now, I'm doing this video for everybody because everybody's running around with their head chopped off, fucking buying this shit for $150, and they have no idea what they're doing. They're just like, oh, it was 50 yesterday, it's 150 today, and tomorrow I'll sell it for 200. Fuck yeah, I'm in. Which is a lot of fun if you have product and you're selling it, but if you're on the other side, it's a little iffy. The video game is going to continue to zoom. We've talked about Bushi, what they're doing. We've talked about how they have pushed back the release dates of lesser games to free up print space for this stuff. Now, they are supposed to have a big Weiss Schwarz release in December. My assumption it is Frieren Volume 2. However, if they do not release a set for December, you know they have cleared up print capacity for reprints of Palworld Set 1, or additional printing of Palworld Set 2, or additional printing for Palworld Set 3. So just make sure you pay attention to that, because if they don't release that December set and they skip one, because they do a set like every month or every 6 weeks, you are 100% certain that they're freeing up print capacity for this, just so you know. It also has the impact of when Nikki Volume 2 comes out. If the boxes go through the ceiling, we're not seeing a reprint of that anytime soon, because they're going to print the living shit out of Palworld because the demand is insatiable right now. In addition, people initially bought Palworld because they were fed up with the price of Pokemon booster boxes. How you like them apples now? The 12-pack boxes of Palworld are now selling for more than Mega 2, 3, or 4. Mega 3, 4, or 5. The irony in that statement is absolutely fucking hilarious. So you can't take this industry too seriously, because shit like that happens, and it's just, the irony is just, it's so absolutely fucking hilarious. Now, in my title, I said Palword, and that is because if you look at the pack, Palworld is spelled wrong on the outside of the box, and it is spelled Palword. Apparently, they don't have editors in Malaysia, certainly ones that don't speak English, or that do speak English. So that's kind of interesting. So I want to show you guys a video. I don't really care about the cards. I do want to talk about the playability. There's an account who, Red Zone Rogue, he does a lot of play with indie games. I don't watch him that often because I don't really care about playability per se. I just don't have time to pay attention to it with all the games and running the retail business and the wholesale business. But he's kind of a game playing snob, and I say that in a positive light. He did a video on Palworld and basically said, I expect it to be dog shit. And by the time he learned how to play it, he actually said he enjoyed it quite a bit, and he started doing videos on it. So if a hardcore card play snob likes the playability of the game, fucking good enough for me. So if the game plays well, the collectability's there, TCG player is going to have to pick it up. They've already fucked this up by not. Quite honestly, I think they should pick up My Little Pony as well, for various reasons. Mostly because it's selling well. It's also an underserved part of the demographic, but I digress. It's going to keep doing what it's doing, but just know there's going to be a reprint coming that could potentially be larger than this first print wave of 3.5 million packs, and they are all going to come to the US. So that's everything you need to know about Palworld, Set 1, Set 2, distribution, Bushi, and enjoy. By the way, 40K is going to be fun.